Hello, fellow heroes. I'm Action Smacchan. That's one hero made up of a virus from the 70s and a guy who likes to play things. I almost introduced the wrong show. But yeah, I'm here again with my good old pal.
Blue Infinity 22.
And we have a cute girl who draws cute girls. We have Melly. Woohoo! And Melly, go ahead and introduce yourself in case nobody knows who you are.
Hi, I'm Melly. I'm currently using my Mugio avatar, but because I VTube as her, and I do the art on Twitter at Sweets Parade. Yeah, I like drawing cute girls.
All right, we got the plug already. Woohoo! Also, remember to like, comment, and subscribe. But
hit that funny like button.
So says our lady. But yeah, welcome back to the what did we call it? The Hero Virus. I just don't know what show I'm doing anymore. Welcome back to the Hero Virus Pixel Podcast, where we talk about video games mostly. But let's start it off with the way we usually start it off with what have you been playing? Let's go ahead and start with Melly.
The obvious answer is SMT5 Vengeance. Because that came out, and I have been spending 90% of my time playing that video game.
Who needs sleep and food when you have vengeance?
I'm unshamelessly a huge SMT fangirl, so I will just tell everybody to play. Yes.
Totally
yes,
agree.
do as Melly does.
Yes. I'm good at talking, please understand.
But yeah, oh my gosh, I'm such a bum when it comes to SMT. Most of my exposure comes from watching my brother play Persona 3 back in like high school or so.
Yeah, Persona 3 was my first introduction to them as well. So
Yeah, I got into them pretty late. It was when the 3DS was, I think, a year into its lifespan. The first one that I played was Shin Megami Tensei Devil Survivor Overclocked.
Ooh.
And then I would actually drive like an hour and a half to a GameStop that would have other Shin Megami Tensei games in stock, because I tried them out because of a mutual friend of ours. And so then I got Persona 4 in its case with the soundtrack still included.
Oh, cool.
I got Shin Megami Tensei 4 at its launch, and then I would get Persona 1 and 2, both 2s, and then Soul Hackers. So like I got like really into the Shin Megami Tensei series pretty late, like a year into the 3DS, but yeah, it's been a great series. And then on PSN they released like all of them, like 3, Nocturne, and that one was really hard. That was probably the most legendary one.
yeah.
I am told that 3 is like the hardest one.
Soul crushing.
3 is hard, but 4 I had to put the tutorial on easy because I kept dying.
Yeah, 4
I could not get past the tutorial because
it's like, so it's one that like when it first came out you're like, wow, yeah, this is the usual hard, but then when you try 4 Apocalypse and you see all of the like quality of life updates it does, you're just like, I can't go back to regular 4 anymore. Like 4 Apocalypse is just, oh man,
so
that one, yeah.
much
It also
better.
has Dagda, so like it's already like a boost in it compared to the others. He's like, oi mate.
The fact that you can choose your partner is just so useful.
Yeah, Toki is the best.
Behold my demons, or my demons are a little bit different. It's been years since I played that game.
Yeah, Shin Megami Tensei is a great series.
And one day I will actually play one all the way through.
So make sure you subscribe so you can catch when he streams it.
Yeah.
Hey, you streamed Revelations Persona.
Oh yeah, I did. I was playing Persona 1.
What show do I?
What show am I on? Do I even make shows? I did.
I'm not
stream.
a fake fan.
he was the shadow in the corner, not saying anything. When I was actually dropping the system on the floor while streaming, and breaking everything.
Oh my gosh.
That was not my best stream. But I was definitely Shin Megami Tenseiing.
I mean,
Better believe.
a lot of players did that. Only it was out of anger.
I'm a fake fan. I've never played that one.
It's not. I mean, it's.
I was playing the very Americanized version too. So
Yeah.
Oh no!
Yeah. Persona 1 and 2 is one of those like. It's only enjoyable in like seeing them, you know, like because.
I played the one that we got on PSP.
Yeah, we got 2 on PSP.
Yeah, 1 and
Innocent
2.
Sin and Eternal Punishment.
Yeah.
And they are.
But Eternal Punishment for PSP was never localized.
Oh,
I remember because I wanted to buy it, but it never got localized.
I thought I had it.
Was
I
it
might
not
be wrong.
PS1?
Yes, only the PS1 version is localized.
Yeah.
Okay. Maybe that's the one that I have that I'm thinking of with because I know I have both, so maybe I have the PSN version of one.
See, he has
And
both,
that's
and they're unopened and still in their plastic wrap.
they're still in their zip folder. Yeah, because so probably when I was playing them on PSP, one of them was just the virtual console for the original, and then the other one's the PSP one.
Yeah.
So, yeah. They're man. When I played them, I was like, wow, this is hard to play.
The music was still cool though. Way early on in Persona 1, it was still cool.
Oh yeah.
I love the OST for 2.
Mm-hmm.
I love the talking and how you could make the main character make motorcycle noises.
I like it when main character go brr brr.
Yeah.
Main character go boom. She makes a cameo in Persona 4, I think.
Really?
Yeah,
and I'm sure everybody knew who it was.
Yeah, right. her design is really like recognizable, though. I feel like a lot of people know her. They just don't necessarily know where she's from, because like her design is very recognizable.
What are you talking about? Persona 3 is the first Persona game.
True.
We started with 3, Blue. Just like how Kirby started with Dreamland 3. Duh.
Yeah, like I'm actually surprised that they just decided to like just rip off like the location, like the setting for Persona 5 like that. Like it was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So, Blue, what have you been playing lately?
Yeah, I love that era. when Neo the World Ends With You got announced, and they're like, they ripped off Persona 5, like, Japan? Like,
Oh, you know Persona 5 owns Shibuya?
it kills me. Like, I absolutely love those. Just like, isn't it crazy that schools became real? Like,
Persona created Shibuya and jazz music.
you can see every time. So what I've been playing, I finally started Paper Mario and the Origami King.
You started it?
I've had it for a few years.
Was it unopened though?
Yeah, it was not open. I opened it.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't have to come to your house and open your video games for you.
Well, actually, it was opened a bit ago because my sisters played it, and then but I finally started it, and then
off the hook this time.
Yeah.
Your sister saved you today.
Yeah. And then I've been playing some of Assassin's Creed Revelations. Finally started that. The art style is so like jarring on that one, like because like they really changed the art style in that game, or at the very least they updated models, and like every character looks so radically different, and like I couldn't even tell you exactly how, because it's like one of those where like you see a face and you can tell something's like different. And like every single character just looks completely different, and it was really distracting at the start. And they also changed the voice for Altair, which I mean I guess makes sense. It's like 5 games later. So and the original voice of him was very like, hey guys, I'm doing a voice, like literally that was his actual voice for a guy in Jerusalem. So it makes sense, but it was pretty distracting, like just how radically different everything looked. But the game is really good so far. I'm surprised at how like they were able to find new ways of doing things. Like they added a hook onto the assassin blade, so like you can literally like jump up, use your hook to grab onto like ledges, slide across wires, and I'm just like, wow, they found new ways of like traversal. And then I've been picking up on the N64 Switch thing. I've been doing Pokemon Puzzle League again. So I'm thinking of streaming that casually for a bit.
Oh my gosh!
Because like I'm doing like the hardest difficulties again, and where it's like you have to hope the AI messes up, and it's a lot of fun, and it is really intense. But yeah, you die a lot. You lose a lot. Because it like the AI does impossible movements. Like it's actually impossible. Like just slide your hand across your keyboard and make make sentences. That's what they do. Like it's that insane. But it's a lot of fun.
So in other words, they cheat.
Oh yeah, definitely. But it's like so casually that's fun for like an action puzzle game, but it's not fun when you're like, man, I really want to have as low continues as possible. Like, that's not happening.
But I want to see that because Blue is ridiculous at puzzle games. We are talking about him playing a game at the highest cheating difficulty, totally biased towards our AI overlords.
Like on the surface, it would kind of like, if in any other context, it'd be kind of like silly. Like it's like, oh, you're watching a guy lose like 50 times, but then you see like just the insanity of like, you just look over the AI and see what they're doing. You're just like, wow. And it's really intense because like every time anyone gets like a chain of like 3 or more, their Pokemon screams. And so you just hear a scream 17 times in a row, and you're like, well, I know what's coming. And then you just hear like fanfare of trumpets loud as your entire screen just melts. And you're like, well, yep, we are 10 seconds into the game. But it's fun, and it's based on the anime, so like the soundtrack and the voice acting is really fun. Because Japan never got the game.
Ooh.
Rip.
Rip bozos. L plus ratio plus didn't ask.
Okay, I'm a casual and I had to Google Puzzle League, but I remember playing this as a kid, and I remember it being really frustrating.
I can believe it, yeah. It's so the reason why Japan never got this one, they eventually got it on the Wii or Wii U Virtual Console, is that the Japan version is all fairies. It's where like the flower item from Smash Brothers comes from, because it's all fairies. But they didn't think that would sell well in America at the time, so they changed it to Yoshi. And then after that, they changed it to Pokemon. Yeah,
see, they didn't figure out that if you just draw some angry eyebrows over any character, that'll make it more marketable.
Yeah.
The angry Kirby.
Yes. Yeah, they did the same thing. They actually, coincidentally, they did that exact thing for the Puyo Puyo as well. They got rid of the original and they made it Kirby, Kirby's Avalanche. And then on Sega, they used Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine.
Yes, I remember that.
Yep. So they that's also America only, I believe, for a while. That was the American Sonic cartoon.
American Sonic cartoon is just angry eyebrows.
Yeah. When I was Googling Puzzle League, I got a result on eBay for a sealed copy for $320.
Oh, perfect. My sealed copy is just in time.
I'm gonna sit you down and open the sealed copy in front of you.
She's like, you see the smile? That's what's gonna be across my face the whole time.
And just your entire house is just gonna be filled with the smell of silicone that day.
Yeah, she's not even gonna like open it carefully either. She's just gonna jam scissors into the box and then slide it up.
I was thinking of jammed. Oh my god, there is a sealed quote unquote Kirby for $150, but it looked like it went through a washing machine.
See, if they had it opened, it would have been ruined.
But like the plastic is still kind of on there.
Yeah, see?
Still
Joke's on
sealed.
you.
Factory sealed.
Yeah, joke's on you.
Machine washable.
Yeah.
Oh no, it's not technically sealed. It's got writing all over the cartridge and the
They
pictures.
just put it back in and just put like aluminum foil on it. Like, there you go. Yeah, it was sealed until Melly came.
Yeah, sorry. I really like the smell of new video games.
Yeah.
I open the game and then I open the case and I shove my face in it.
Melly's
And
like, remember when everyone licked Switch carts? That was me.
Okay, I didn't do that. I smelled the
That was
cases.
not me.
She's like, there was no evidence of that.
I bought Soul Hackers for the 3DS without a case. And I set it down, and then I came back like 10 minutes later and my cat ate it.
Oh no, what?
No.
And that's why I feel like they made the Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, the
cartridges.
cat would have spit it out in that case.
Some of the games still worked. It just has a bunch of cat bite marks in it.
How'd you get it back?
It was just on the floor.
Oh, okay.
He got bored of it eventually, I suppose.
There it is, right there on the floor.
I've gone down the rabbit hole of looking up N64 games on eBay.
Yeah. Yeah, the N64 had like a great library.
I never owned an N64.
There's one N64 game that I will mention for today.
Ooh, what is it? Oh, you mean later?
Yeah. Yeah, for the topic.
For the topic.
What is the topic?
Let's see here. Today's topic.
Just kidding. You gotta tell us what you're playing.
Oh crap! What show is this? Hold on. You're right. We can't be skipping segments. I have been playing this. I think it was originally made on RPG Maker. It's a dungeon crawler called Disillusion. And
I
it's like,
vaguely have heard of that. It sounds familiar.
it's kind of like a mixture of like LSD Simulator and Yume Nikki.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, wow. That is an art style. Holy
It
cow.
is, and the flower girl is so cute. She's like my favorite thing.
Here it is, Melly, if you need it.
Oh, that's really cute.
And like that game is absolutely a trip. Also, I think it's a little bit busted. I got to like a broom where I cannot progress. I thought I installed a fix for it, but it did not fix. So I need to go back and make sure that it still works. But it is a fascinating game.
DM'd you the fix.
It's a prequel.
I really like this. I love weird games.
I picked it up off of Steam. I think it was like $3 or something. It was really cheap.
Oh, maybe this is a different one than what you're mentioning, but it's the same series, I think.
Yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, I don't think this is the original
Disillusion
game.
ST. Yeah, this says it's a prequel to Disillusion, so.
Yeah. But yeah, same series. Probably still the same insanity.
Yeah.
It's like
Submission to LSD Jam.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? That makes sense. That makes total sense because that game is trippy. But like the monsters that you meet, if you want to call them monsters, they might just be people. They might just be citizens of a weird world.
I'm looking at some of these pictures. That's actually really uncomfortable to look at some of these. Like, it's actually really unsettling.
But it's like the unsettling visuals mixed in with the kind of mundane dialogue makes for like a really weird mix. And I really dig it.
Mm-hmm.
And it still has like turn-based combat. It's like the chillest thing. It's just kind of like monsters yelling at you or something.
I want to play this now. I'm watching the trailer on Steam.
Yeah, I'm seeing the original. Yeah, $3.
Yeah, it's totally recommended, but do look into the community to see how to patch it correctly so that you don't get stuck like me. But yeah, really intriguing game. It's one that just kind of gets you just kind of running around the hallways for hours, just trying to talk to everything just to see what ridiculous stuff they might say, or talk to your flower girlfriend.
I happen to be something of a businessman.
Oh my gosh, that was actually like an intense boss fight right there. But yeah, that's what I've been playing, and I'm currently stuck in it because I need to get a patch fix to make it work correctly.
Does the game just freeze up?
It doesn't freeze up, but it does not. The door to the next floor does not work, and there's like nothing else to do on that floor. It's funny because like you think that maybe at first it's on purpose, because like you can actually go straight through the door and there's like a small room, and then there's like this fish person, and you like talk to them, and they show you a weird picture of the fish person but with a cig. And as I verbally describe it, it just sounds like a fever dream. But also, I was not able to continue. And I'm pretty sure that's
I guess we could say you were disillusioned with it.
I was. Title drop.
I'm looking at the trailer, and some of that main mascot or main character, very uncanny valley movements.
You seeing movements?
Yes, when the mouth opened up manually and the eyes widened. In the trailer, very uncanny.
Yeah. Uncanny. That's probably the pretty good word to describe a whole lot of what you're about to see in that game.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's what I've been playing for the past, over the last weekend or so.
Mm-hmm.
It's probably not very long, but it's try not to get stuck.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, since we've all been able to update each other on what we've been playing, let's go ahead and go into today's topic. With more promising JRPGs continuing to get announced, longtime fans rejoice, but gamers that are not already fanatic for the game genre may not know why many are so ecstatic. For them to understand the true appeal of JRPGs, we may have to point them towards the root gameplay genre with turn-based battles. So what are some game recommendations to get into classic turn-based JRPGs? Let's go back and start with Melly. What do you think?
Persona, honestly. Like, we were joking about Persona earlier, but like, as far as JRPG goes, they're quite accessible.
Oh yeah.
Because you can play them like on PC and on consoles, especially Royal. Is just, I was watching a friend play it earlier, and it's just an accessible JRPG, and it's not too complicated, and it's just, yeah, it's, I don't know.
So for the Persona series, for those that want to get into it, I would not recommend starting with the original 3, entirely because you cannot control your party members in that, and you die, it's an instant game over if your main character gets knocked out. So that may be quite a bit of a hurdle. Persona 4 allows you to control all of your characters again, and your main character is a lot stronger. Persona 5 has a lot more quality of life and is definitely a lot easier to get into with some of its choices. And then they did do a remake of 3 to give it all of the updates that 4 and 5 gave. So they're pretty common to get into for sure. And there's a lot of references as well, like material to like really get yourself started.
And it has so many cute girls.
Yeah, Reload. Yes. We love the cute girls. So Persona 3 Reload has a dog. I love Koromaru.
Mm-hmm.
The dog has a persona. So how could you go wrong with that?
Yeah.
Yeah, Reload or Persona 3 Reload or Persona 5 Royal would be my suggestion. And that's not coming from an SMT fan, I swear.
There's no biases here.
No,
If I had to pick one for getting in, I think Persona 4, the original one, might, for someone who's like never really played RPGs and is like getting into it, I feel like the original 4, or I guess even Golden to an extent, but I think the original 4 would be a bit better for getting in, because like Persona like 5, I guess it depends on what you mean like by somebody who's new to the series, like if they've played games before or if it's just someone who's new to games in general. Because Persona 4 and Reload, they are very dynamic. They have a lot of like fast-paced stuff to them that can be pretty overwhelming to a newcomer. With Persona 4, it's a lot more subdued. The areas are a lot smaller, because I know like Persona 5's maps are surprisingly big, and you get to use the subway station, which can get really confusing for people who don't like really have a map or a good sense of direction. And then like going through all of the alleyways and stuff. Where Persona 4, the maps are very simple. Like the school is just 2 floors, straight lines. The towns is just 1 street that you're typically going through. The school entrance, and the dungeons are a bit easier, even though they're randomly generated, are a bit easier to focus on. So that one, I think, and it's a lot more of a I don't know, like the cast I feel like for 4 is just really great as well, for like somebody getting into it, because it's something that you're following through with all of the cast. Like I guess that kind of is like a separate topic on its own, but I think the original 4 is like probably the most approachable of them all. But definitely for like someone who is familiar with games, like 5 Royal is huge. Like it blew up. Like that one is definitely one that has a lot of excitement for someone who's more familiar with games, and that's not so much of an issue.
The only criticism I know of for it is that people get tired because the opening is like 2 hours long without any gameplay, really.
That kind of reminded me of another thing, actually. In Persona 3 Reload, they removed fatigue, so that one's also a lot easier than every other Persona game. Like, they just completely removed the fatigue system, so that one is probably the easiest of between 4, 5, and 3.
I do appreciate in Reload you can still go to the bathroom.
Yeah. Yeah,
it doesn't do anything, you just go.
Yeah. I'm actually quite... Man, it's a whole other topic on Reload, but yeah, that one's definitely like the easiest, hands down, for people. Like as far as difficulty, like you could just you can beat it in like a few hours. It's just that effortless now.
Really?
So it's so easy. Like getting rid of like fatigue was such a big thing, and a lot of the edits they did as well to like story and plot lines. Like it's actually kind of crazy. But yeah, but that's like going through like a changelog at that point. But yeah, it does make it a lot easier for someone to get into. So I do think I back up Melly on Persona 3 Reload is probably better actually than 4, because 4 can really, really get difficult. It has a huge difficulty spikes.
I can't speak for the difficulty of Reload because I went into it playing on Merciless, and I'm not having trouble at all.
Yeah.
So like, I can't speak on the difficulty.
Yeah.
Because I'm playing on the hardest difficulty, and I don't think it's that hard. So
yeah. 3 Reload it's a very easy game. Like I think they might have done that on purpose. But I don't know why exactly, but yeah, a lot of the like speedrunners also they go to that when they want to just literally breeze through because it takes like no effort at all. It's crazy. Like you used to have to really hardcore strategize a lot of stuff. So and that's not like necessarily like a knock, because I feel like that really emphasizes the point of it being a really good entry into the franchise. Like that's a really good starting point. Because yeah, Shin Megami Tenseis are notoriously like unfair difficulty, like literally unfair difficulty. So if there's one that's like a good like entry point, that would definitely be one. And the visuals are stunning as well. Like that's one thing you can't be taken from that.
Oh yeah, it's such a beautiful game. And even just speaking on Persona 5, I think that is actually a whole lot of people's entry into JRPG fandom. I might be wrong, but I
You
feel
might
like
be right. No, I think you might be right.
I feel like there was a little bit of an uptick in just audience when Persona 5 was, you know, the thing that was up.
Yeah, like Persona 5 is like so big now that like it really did make a lot of people forget about 3 and 4, which is kind of crazy because they really liked 4. Like Atlas really put 4 out there nonstop for like everything.
Yeah,
So-
let him sleep. Let
Yeah.
you Narukami sleep. I remember seeing those memes.
Yeah, like so much like audio dramas. Like even when they had like brought in Persona 3, it was about Persona 4. Like Persona Q had like a crossover, and they had extra scenes for Persona 4 and nothing extra for 3. It's so funny.
I remember when they made Dancing All Night, the meme was Persona 4 karting all afternoon or whatever it was.
Yeah, like Persona 4 Arena and Ultimax, and then like for some reason they made the audio dramas like canon as well. So like Persona 4 Arena went off of the audio dramas. It was crazy. They really threw it out there. Like I even have a Teddy punching bag.
Oh, I have that one. Yeah, it blows up.
Yeah, she's like, oh yeah, I punch Teddy all the time.
You know what's funny? The first thing I did was I blew it up, and then I got my phone and recording myself punching the head repeatedly.
Yeah, and like it's so sad too, because like, and this is like I guess it's like a whole tangential topic, because like God, there's so much to talk about with like Persona, but yeah, like with Teddy, like, or I guess there's a couple of characters they really like kind of started to go into like Flanderization, just because the sheer amount of like Persona 4 out there that like the writers couldn't necessarily keep it all like consistent, so like kind of really like Flanderized. Like Akihiko from Persona 3, they completely changed his personality. Teddy, they changed his personality. So it's like, yeah, it's when Persona 5 came out and like finally let them rest, I was like, that's probably a good thing. But if you guys do get into any of the Personas, there's a lot of supplemental like stuff if you enjoy the cast.
So that is a really good pick.
Yeah.
But let's see here. So that was from Melly. Blue, do you have anything else to add to the list?
So this is one that I think like a lot of people got into RPGs as well, as with the Paper Mario for the N64.
Oh,
it's a very, very friendly entry point for role-playing games. And it's even for people who might not necessarily like turn-based RPGs, it's a lot more dynamic as well with the action commands. Like it's kind of crazy how just that little bit of change can really affect like how a game feels and like how it impacts. So with Paper Mario, it's a very simple story, but it has like a really an unmatched charm. Like still to this day, there are many people who swear that the first game is the best in the franchise, like bar none. Like Thousand Year Door is usually what people think of when they think of like the best Paper Mario game, but a lot of like fans of the series really do think the first game was superior. Like there's a lot of like small details in that the MacGuffins that you're getting, they're living creatures, so they all have personalities, and it really adds a lot to how you like the stakes feel, because when you see them actually in pain trapped in a card, it really intensifies like the boss battle as well. And they talk to you as well. One of them even escapes a exploding volcano with you. There's so much charm in like every detail of Paper Mario. And like the battle system, despite it being turn-based, like action commands being where you basically do simple button inputs to increase the damage done.
mm-hmm.
And so it's really like quite clever. And the badge system is basically passive and active abilities that you can equip freely. And basically make your own build entirely. Like it's such a fantastic game and really ahead of its time, honestly. And the fact that it's 1/3 of all RPGs on the N64 is just a testament that it's like a quality.
We got only a few of these, but at least this one's good.
Yeah.
The other one is Quest 64.
Yeah, and the other one I think is Ogre Battle 64. So there's 3 total RPGs on the console, and one of them is Paper Mario. So yeah, I think Paper Mario is definitely, and like honestly, any of the Paper Marios are good entry points. But I do think there's specifically the first one is the one to go for like getting introduced.
Yeah, I've never played the Paper Mario games, but I played Super Mario RPG on the SNES.
Yeah, that's another one I'm going to bring up.
I have so much nostalgia with that game because I really like that one.
Oh yeah, it's like literally unmatched. Like it is unmatched. And it was like the intro or not necessarily the introduction of, but it was definitely where Yoko Shimomura kind of like took off her career.
Yeah.
Oh. She also attributes that game to what's like kickstarted her career. So that's why when the remake was announced, that she was just so excited to go on it, because like she really does have a fondness of that game. So like she may have done Kingdom Hearts, some of the Final Fantasies, the Mario and Luigi games, but Mario RPG.
Yeah, that's what I associate her with.
Yeah.
That game.
Yeah, fantastic starter one, because it's also where Action Commands originated from, the Paper Mario one, because Paper Mario was originally a sequel to Mario RPG, Legend of the Seven Stars. But when Square went to PlayStation instead, and they owned the copyright for half the characters in that game, they decided to break it off and change it from Mario RPG 2 to Mario Story, and then in America, Paper Mario. So that's where like they share a lot in common. So if you enjoy Paper Mario, you'll definitely enjoy Mario RPG, and it's just as good to get into. I would say the original one is probably better to get into than the remake. I don't know, like for me, it felt like the action commands were a lot easier to do on the first one, but it could just be like, I guess like age, like kind of nostalgia, I guess. But the remake is still like really easy to get into. Like it's honestly technically easier than the first than the original, because your action commands can actually hit all enemies now if you get frame perfect. So
oh yeah, that is a new feature.
yeah. And it also gives you indicators when to use action commands as well. And then once you land one or two, then they stop until you fail, and then it brings the indicator back. And your chain goes between battles, and it raises your stats. So it's there's a lot of like really cool stuff that they did in the remake. It's very well done. They got rid of Bruce Lee though.
Oh.
I know people really like the remake. I didn't play it. I have it, but I didn't play it.
But did you
I know that feeling.
Yes. My boyfriend played it.
Hey.
He really liked it. But
For some reason, like it made the Boshi a lot harder. I don't know if it was just me. I really couldn't do Boshi as well. There's an evil Yoshi named Boshi. You have to race it with button presses, and for some reason, like it felt easier in the original. But yeah,
okay, I remember that. I've never been good at button presses in games, and I just throw the controller.
That'll land it.
Yes.
Oh, they did fix the oversight though. In the original one, there's a missable frog coin, and it also means you can't get the award for getting all the hidden blocks, because the only way to get it is to jump on the toad escorting you into the castle, and then you jump off the toad to jump on top of the doorway. But after you save, you get the first star, that toad is no longer in that hallway, so you actually can't get the block anymore. But they fixed that in the remake to where there's a toad there now. So, yeah, it's a good remake for sure, and the anime cutscenes are cool too.
Oh yeah, the animated cutscenes look awesome.
I don't know of these animated cutscenes. See, okay, I didn't grow up with the only Nintendo system really that I had growing up was an SNES. I never had an N64. I was a PlayStation girl, so I didn't play like a lot of Mario games or whatever. So I'm just like, yeah, okay.
Hey, I mean, you brought up RPG. Yeah,
I played the ones on the SNES.
Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Okay. I'm sorry. I'm a fake fan. Fake fan.
No, it's fine. Yeah, no. Yeah, so yeah, because I was talking about it compared to the remake, the SNES one with the remake on Switch.
Oh, but what is this animated cutscenes?
Yeah, they have anime cutscenes for some of the major parts of the game, and they also have ultimate anime cutscenes too.
Ultimate
on the SNES one?
No, the remake. They added animated cutscenes on the remake.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's where I was getting confused.
Yeah, so like when Malo is chasing the croc for the coin, they have that as a full 3D CG animated cutscene. So you get to see him start sobbing in crisp 1080p.
Those delicious, delicious tears.
Yeah.
One thing I liked about the remake, from what I saw of it, is that like they moved like the sprites in the original. Like it had a very SNES feel to it, and I liked it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they do the visuals of the original a lot of justice. I just love the way Mario's designed. I love his little dance.
I was gonna say I love his little jig.
Yeah.
Yeah, it also brings back the I had completely forgotten about this actually until Mario RPG came out, the remake, that they actually put a hard ban on Mario doing the peace sign after the N64 era. I completely forgot that they did that until the remake because they removed him doing the peace sign from it.
Really?
Oh.
Yeah, so basically when he was doing the peace sign in the 64 era, Miyamoto thought that it was very like childish kind of thing. So like it was more like appealing to kids, but he wanted Mario to be all ages appeal, not just like a kid friendly thing. He wanted everything.
Only
so
kids want victory.
Yeah, so he thought the peace sign was like kind of like leaning too much into the children's kind of thing. So after that, that's when they stopped that. So that's why he does like he removes his hat instead, or leaps for joy, things like that. But he doesn't do the peace sign.
Today I learned.
Yeah, so that's why in the RPG remake they removed it, and in like all future games they don't do it anymore either.
Huh. Little do we know, Miyamoto actually personally approved the angry eyebrows on the box art.
Yeah, so I wonder if they ever did do like a full-on remake of Mario 64, if they would remove it. Like, I actually don't know if they're like, look, this is literally like its identity,
People would get really vocal if they took it out.
Yeah, because like it's something that it actually is interesting in the remake for Mario 64 DS. They don't do the peace sign because they only have like their fist. So they don't have fingers on their hands that can animate. So a lot of people just assumed it was due to the lack of a model, but it could also be at the same time that technically they're not doing a peace sign, they're raising their hand up, their fist. So I wonder if that's like at the same time, like that, like nobody noticed it. Yeah, well this is like a huge tangent. So yeah, those RPGs. What about you, Smacchan? It's a good one.
Let's see here. We could go from Mario to talking about another industry forming franchise, and I think I should recommend one of these Dragon Quest games.
Yeah, I was gonna get to that too.
Yeah, definitely had to mention Dragon Quest. Now, Dragon Quest XI would be the most accessible, probably, because it's just available on everything, and it's also a really good entry. But yeah. I think one thing that Dragon Quest XI might not be too beginner friendly with is that it can be kind of long, especially if you get to the post game of the definitive edition. That might be putting some extra hours in that kind of scares people away, I think, from JRPGs. I think a lot of the argument against the criticisms against JRPGs is that they are kind of lengthy. So I think kind of the best one to recommend that kind of keeps the length short, but it's a pretty good entry point, and just generally a really good member of the series. I'm gonna recommend Dragon Quest V, because I think that one also still has a really charming story. It's one where you get to choose a cute girl to marry, and if you play the DS version or the one that's available on mobile right now, you get a third girl to choose from, because the original version of Dragon Quest V only had Bianca and Nira, but in the most recent version of Dragon Quest V, you get the option for a third girl, and you bet
she's really cute.
And you bet that I chose her, although personality-wise, she's not actually my favorite. But I married her out of principle, because she was special to the version I was playing. But I do think that accessibility for the game is pretty important, and we're lucky in that Dragon Quest V is available on iOS and Android.
The Dragon Quest 1 through 3 is also being remastered as well.
Yes.
I want to play those ones. I've never played a Dragon Quest game. I only know of it through 11. I watched my boyfriend play it, and I love that game.
It's
adorable. I didn't personally. The story is really good. Yes, it's very lengthy, but I really love the characters and I love the story of 11.
The reason why I was going to bring up Dragon Quest is actually because the reason for it, from what I've read, the reason why the game even exists is because the creator of Dragon Quest, he really enjoyed role-playing games. He got really into like the Ultima series.
Yes.
But he was worried that one, that they're really complicated, they're really complex, and they take a lot to understand. And the other is that they're also very large in their like file size at the time, and not a lot of people owned the PCs to play these RPGs that he loved. So he wanted to make a RPG that people could, an entry-level one that could get people into the genre and simplify it to where it was very accessible to the general audience, as well as being able to play on like home consoles, so that people could actually play them. So the Dragon Quest was literally made with it in mind of introducing people into the genre in a very easy to understand way.
I didn't know that, but I believe it. I mean, a lot of those games back then, like, were kind of like that, because weren't they like a lot of them just Western only?
Yeah, and also like almost every like RPG was heavily based off of Dungeons and Dragons.
Yes.
Which already takes, just like if you try to play it naturally, it takes hours to, either start up, set up, get people prepared, like go through that. And there's a lot of like stuff to understand, a lot of things to consider. And so it was like a lot of people enjoyed it because, it was their hobby. But yeah, it's like for someone like kind of looking in like, wow, this is a lot. Like, man, like dexterity, intelligence, wisdom, what's the difference between them? How do they affect, like, what am I doing? And like with Ultima, like, which was like one of the like largest at the time, there was a lot you had to understand and like get through, and it was very complex. So yeah, having an entry level, and then just having on top of it like recognizable like art style, like from like Akira Toriyama, which was very like very charming, that really captured your imagination, really helped with that a lot.
Akira Toriyama's monster designs are really cute. My boyfriend actually has a full sleeve tattoo of Dragon Quest enemies.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
he's a true Dragon Quest fan.
He's like a huge fan of Dragon Quest, and here I am over here never playing a Dragon Quest game. So
you have the
I know about
experience.
the game. Yeah, I know about the games. I just never played them. Someday.
Yeah, it's great. I mean, it's literally having the best opportunity ever to get into them coming up with 1, 2, and 3. They're doing the HD 2D, right?
Yes.
Yeah, like
Octopath.
Yeah, it really keeps the charm that it has while really modernizing. It's such a great style.
Yeah, and it's really cool that they are doing 3, 1, and 2 in that order, because it is a continuous timeline, but they're like generations apart, and there just are not a whole lot of series that do that aside from Dragon Quest. Kind of the only one that I could think of at the top of my head is Star Ocean, which is also an Enix property, just like Dragon Quest.
I know in the direct, Yuji Horii, I think, was saying, like, please enjoy the Dragon Quest in the chronological order, because I think 3 comes first, and then 1 and 2. Like, so... I know there are some people who are all like, no, you have to play them in the order that they are released.
Yeah, it's very rare that it's like recommended to do the opposite, because usually the games are made with the release order in mind. So it's like they build off each other. So having that was such a unique thing to see.
I think it would be best to play it 1, 2, then 3. Only if you don't know that 3 is a prequel to 1, because then it's a pretty big plot twist. Because you actually don't know that necessarily going into the game. If you never heard Yuji Horii just completely spoil the fact that it takes place before 1, the plot twist, when you realize that you are revisiting an earlier version of your old kingdom from 1, is a bit mind-blowing. But that's the only reason why I could think of to do it in the order of 1, 2, then 3. But, you know, Yuji Horii told us already that 3 is a prequel, so
he said,
it's not super.
Smacchan, do not make me Smacchan the back of your head.
I will spoil my own games.
You are stuck in the past. Now play these games from the past.
But yeah, they're like, as a complete unit, 1, 2, and 3 of Dragon Quest is a totally unique experience. Just seeing this timeline evolve and recall itself. But the recommendation from me, since this is taking place before those games released, is to try Dragon Quest V. All of these games are really good standalone, but they do have their own timelines. In fact, 4, 5, and 6 are their own timeline, separate from 1, 2, and 3. So if you want to still check out another timeline that kind of does something similar, and that you get to revisit the kind of the same land in different eras, you can still get that from 4, 5, and 6. But yeah, 5 definitely one of the cutest stories. It encompasses the main character's life from childhood to early adulthood to being a father. So it's a really interesting story to go through.
Wasn't the Dragon Quest animated movie based on 5?
Yes, the one on Netflix.
Yeah, I watched that one. It was really cute.
It was really cute. And then the plot twist in that one was kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Bianca was really cute in that one.
Yes. I just know, other than that, 8 is also really popular. I remember people... Yeah.
That was, I think, the North American most popular one up until 11 came out. Which is why they added him to Smash Ultimate, was specifically for the USA audience.
Oh, that makes sense. There are a lot of people that that cite 8 as their entry point to the series, so that's probably pretty good. Also, that was I think that was one of the first level 5 studio games.
I did not know that.
Yeah, Dragon Quest 8 was actually developed by Level 5, if I remember correctly. Published by Enix. Or they may have already been. Were they already Square Enix?
Yeah.
Yes. The first Square Enix game that I can remember was Final Fantasy X.
Oh.
No, is 10 or 10-2. But that came out in 2005, Dragon Quest 8.
Yeah, they had to have been Square Enix by then.
Yes.
But yeah, that is my first recommendation. Melly, do you have another one for us?
Not that I can think of. I put all my brain power into Persona.
She also brought up Mario RPG, and then we just kind of like went with it after.
I could list a ton of niche JRPGs that are exclusive to the PS2, and like you can't even get them on PSN or anything.
I have a number of those as well.
You can only emulate them, and I'm just like, please play these games. You have to emulate them. No. You go first.
Yes, ma'am.
Before we start breaking laws, Blue, go first.
So one that I have is actually Kingdom Hearts. Oh. I think that it's actually a legitimately good game for getting into JRPGs.
That's a great turn-based JRPG.
Yeah, like, so the UI is literally like that, whereas you selecting a command. Indeed. And so so I'll be honest, when I was making the list, I was thinking of just entry-level JRPGs, not necessarily just turn-based, even though all of mine, except for this one, is turn-based, it turned out. But yeah, it's like, because I feel like a lot of people did get into JRPGs through Kingdom Hearts, because it came out when I think it was like
it's like 2001.
Yeah, I think I was like I was thinking around 10 that I got the game, but like, yeah, it was a huge entry point for a lot of people that I know of getting into JRPGs. Like a lot of my friends, that was their first JRPG. Getting into it, because it's for people who might not like have a lot of trouble with turn-based, like having that, it still plays with a lot of the rules of turn-based, where it has like desperation moves, it has canceling their attacks, it has a lot of defensive options, reactions, responses, because like it all, like you can really break down a lot of the combat into turns. But it's very accessible, very easy to get into, and like all of the games, especially the first one was a lot more platforming focused and world building, and the combat wasn't as intense as it would later get. So it really was like a really good entry point, because like even by the end of the game, you're still doing like three hit combos. Like you might get up to like 6, but like in Kingdom Hearts 2 and on, you can get like 50 hit combos. Like you just go like super go in, but the first one was very like subdued in that. So it's very very easy to get into, and like even people who don't play a lot of RPGs, I know, enjoy Kingdom Hearts, and like some of them don't even consider it like JRPG with how like comfortable it is to play. So yeah, that's one that I think definitely is a very good entry point.
You're right. We have to be very uncomfortable when we play our JRPGs. There needs to be a crazy skeleton man just ruining my entire time. I guess
it's also the only Kingdom Hearts game that you actually have the round table of villains. All the Disney villains are literally sitting at a round table talking about how they're going to beat up Sora.
Oh, like a literal round table. Yeah.
Yeah, they were at a literal round table. A lot of people forget that. Yeah, all the Disney villains, Ursula, Captain Hook, Hades, they're all like just sitting there at a table. Like, yeah, that kid sucks.
And I will say that in particular, Kingdom Hearts 1, it has a whole lot more elements from the Final Fantasy turn-based games because of the way they use the commands. In you even have to like kind of use your thumb to choose commands or to move correctly. So
like even just opening a chest, you have to go through the action command. Like you can't. It's not just press triangle like every other game. You actually have to scroll down and click open in your command list.
Yeah, so I'll give you a little leeway with that one, Blue.
that is my fault, because I like when you said turn-based, I said It's literally the only one on my list that's not turn-based, but I was like, it's such a great entry level, and so many people I know got into RPGs through Kingdom Hearts, and like, or they like really liked some of the characters and looked into them because all the Final Fantasy characters that are in there, that they were like, that guy's cool. I want to see Cloud look like that. He doesn't look like that at all in his game.
That other guy looks like that. Why is he cosplaying as his friend?
Yeah, that other guy looks like that. Yeah. Orin at his coolest in Kingdom Hearts 2. Literally told Hades to go to hell, and he's like, but I'm already
I am hell, dang it.
So yeah, that's one. I just wanted to throw that one out there because it's still my favorite franchise ever.
Fair enough. I'm definitely going to be talking about my favorite franchises a little bit later. You know what I mean?
Kirby's Dream Land 3.
Best JRPG, baby. Did you get a chance to think of anything, Melly?
Yeah, so you brought up Final Fantasy. The Pixel remasters are really fun.
Oh, I adore those.
That's a very good one.
Yeah, they're a lot more accessible than the SNES versions, and they've like added a bunch, like you can speed up battles and stuff, and
it's also very rare for like a remaster of like some of these classic RPGs to actually be received well, and these are one that actually are. Like it is very, like almost every single RPG I can think of that got remastered or re-released, like everyone like always says just get the original ones. They're just way better. Like the port is just awful, but for the Pixel remasters, like they're legitimately recommended by so many for the like how well they actually did do.
If
Go on.
If the only criticism for them, like the only big criticism for them was the font choice, that means that they did pretty good.
Yeah, because like, man, I remember like playing some of the mobile ports for some of the old Final Fantasy. Like, I really prefer the original. It's like, oh man, like this, I don't like this. And the Pixel remasters did really good. The only thing I think they're missing is like some of the extra one or two extra things that were added in like their Android port or their PSP ports, but like they were like very minor things. But that's like the only thing that's like missing. The rest, everything else is in there, and they're really strong, really well made. They are actually pretty, like really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
You talked about the text, and I totally forgot because the first thing I did when I bought them on Steam was
mod it.
Yes,
Yeah.
I wanted the font before I even launched.
Yeah, like I don't know what's up with that. Like, it's crazy. Even Chrono Trigger had that happen, and then like I guess they lost it because like they did update. It's like, look, we put the font back, and it's so clearly not.
Yeah.
Why are you guys lying?
Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, but yeah, like definitely they're very quality, and they're always on sale too. Mm-hmm. Like I actually own all of them because they were like 80% off.
80%. Dang.
Yeah, so I just got them all. So,
especially if you're into like more retro type stuff, they're very fun.
Oh yeah. Oh, I absolutely love like the new orchestrations.
Mm-hmm.
It made me a huge fan. Like I've grown up around Final Fantasy a lot. Like my brother would play most of them. But it wasn't until like the Pixel remasters came out was when I decided I'm gonna play this entire dang series.
Mm-hmm.
And
I grew up with Final Fantasy, so it's just like my comfort.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and I can see why. Yeah.
I'm still the dork that calls some of the Final Fantasy V characters their original localized name.
Butts.
yeah, and Reina.
Oh.
Not
right,
Lena?
she's Lena now.
Yeah, the first release here was Reina, then it was Rena, and then they finally fixed it to its proper Lena or Lena. So
you're a fan translation boy.
Yeah, that's so funny.
I think that's how it was on the PS1 version.
Yep.
And like Ferris's real name was Salsa. Like,
Yeah.
Like I think she's supposed to be like Sarisa or something.
Yeah.
And then, but no, she's Salsa.
Yeah, it was our first time getting it was in the PS1, and that was the one that I played. Final Fantasy V was my favorite for such a long time. Like the visuals were so cool. Like I really liked how all the sprites looked, and all the jobs looked cool. Like I remember Bart's knight was like one of my favorite like outfits for a while.
The overworld theme in 4 is my favorite.
Oh, and 4. Oh, 4. Yeah.
4, 5. I mean, you said that. 4
it's
hearts.
It's like a marching. Yeah. It's like a marching.
Yeah. When I was in school, I would put the song on and pretend I was in a JRPG overworld.
I think everyone's done that.
I like to believe that we have all done that. If you have not done that, please leave the podcast right now.
Everyone has like the UI in their head as what's next? Smacchan, what's next?
Let's see here. I do recommend doing Final Fantasy V, but I don't think I have anything else to add to that one. So I will go to.
If you were going to continue Final Fantasy, I have.
I will bring up a lesser known franchise, but it is one that I find extremely charming and is a little bit nostalgic for me personally. I will talk about Rhapsody, the musical adventure.
Oh my god! That was my childhood game.
But for the sake of for the topic, I will specifically say Rhapsody 2 because that one shifts the genre more to turn-based classic that we're talking about. But Rhapsody 1. The original one, definitely a nostalgic classic for myself, and I can see that Melly also has her love for it.
Yeah, it's adorable.
I know that you're out there, and I'm waiting for you. Don't even get me started. I'm sorry.
No,
it's
please,
adorable.
Please do it. It'll get us the views.
Anyways, continue.
But yeah, Rhapsody 2 can still stand on its own if you haven't played the first game, but you should probably play the first game because it is lovely and charming, and you need to know what song that Melly was singing just a minute ago. But it does have its own songs. Say again?
When they announced the localization of 2 and 3, I cried so hard.
Wasn't it crazy?
Yes, it took them like 20 years to localize those games. I thought we were never gonna get them. And then it's like, here they are on PS5. And I'm just like crying at my monitor.
I feel like that's been happening a lot lately. Just a lot of crying at monitors because they decided to announce things that just were not about to happen.
Yeah, exactly. And the first thing I did after I found out that it was coming out, I pre-ordered the collector's edition almost immediately. And don't worry, I did open it.
There we go. We opened those collector's editions in this podcast.
It came with a cloth poster, and the first thing I did was hang it on my wall.
Awesome.
They announced something at the Direct. Phantom Brave, they're not really turn-based per se, but like also another NIS game. Really
also,
love
a
NIS
sequel
games.
that we straight up never thought we were going to get, because who would have guessed
Yes.
Phantom Brave to get a sequel after 20 years?
Yes. Oh my god. I was a huge NIS fangirl growing up. It's why I started drawing, so.
Oh, the
I can
origin
talk about
story.
it. Yeah, my origin story. That's why I have the pointed ears, is because I love Harada's art so much.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay, continue. I'm sorry. I keep interrupting.
But yeah, Rhapsody 2, you can play it without playing the first game because you get introduced to whole new lead characters, but they're definitely related to people that you might know if you played the first game. They simplify the battle system even more than the simple battle system in the first game, in that now you don't even have to worry about a grid. And you don't really worry about MP that much, because it's all based on like money, I believe, if I remember correctly. It's been a couple months since I last turned it on.
Same.
But another thing that this new port of Rhapsody 2 did that I never would have guessed that they wanted to do was that they actually gave it an English dub. That's totally new.
I was surprised, honestly. They didn't dub the songs, but they dubbed the game.
Yeah, I would have liked them to dub the songs, kind of. Just because a lot of the enjoyment of, playing the first game was listening to the dubbed
Yes.
musical numbers.
I know all of them by heart.
I used to.
Don't get me started.
I used to jam with them with my sister. Just blasting the songs on the PS1.
Yes. I miss it.
Yeah, and it was crazy because they would have songs in like the that they wouldn't use like in game. They didn't have like actual musical numbers, but if you listen to just like the music in like the BGM mode, there's songs that they did not put into like the main gameplay, and it's such a shame because they were still, some of them are like some of the best ones. But yeah, for a beginner just trying to get their feet wet with something charming and pretty and fun to listen to, and still classic turn-based, like the roots of the genre, definitely try Rhapsody 2.
Love that series.
It's a wonderful series. Cornette's so cute.
Yes, I've drawn her a ton. I honestly didn't know you were into those games, but I know you do like older games.
I didn't know you were like that, Smacchan.
Yeah.
It's another thing where I didn't play it a whole lot. Like, I didn't play a whole lot of Makai games. Myself, I would still be experiencing them a lot, watching my siblings play.
Mm-hmm.
And again, like my brother would, much like the Final Fantasy series, he would have a whole lot of the just keeping up with the releases of the Makai games. So
I remember pre-ordering Disgaea 2 for the PlayStation 2. That was in 2006. And I was in middle school, and it was all I could think of for summer break. I had a calendar that I crossed off, and in giant letters I wrote Disgaea 2 because I wanted it so bad.
I feel like that's still the most popular one.
Yeah. And then 4 got released, and I think Disgaea 4 is the most popular.
Really?
is it really?
Yes.
I had
At
no
least
idea.
in Japan.
Okay, I can. Yeah, I was like, I'd be shocked, especially over here. Like, I liked 4. Like, sardines is now my favorite thing ever. But
Yeah,
I have a wall scroll for it.
I have a Disgaea 5 poster above my monitor.
Mine's unopened. I have it in my room. It's unopened.
Oh my
collectors.
There's about to be a knock at your door.
My favorite one. Disgaea 3 is probably my favorite one. But yeah, like I know for sure, like everyone like talks about it too. It even has like, I mean, I'm sure maybe all of them do, but that's one that I recall that there was even like manga for, was Disgaea 2.
I have the manga.
Yeah,
for
like
Disgaea 2. Oh my god, I forgot about that.
Yeah, like Disgaea 2, it's just so like it's so hard to like for me to like even argue it's not like the biggest, but I could definitely see 4 being the most popular. But like I know after that, like no one seems to really be a very big fan of the later ones. But I heard this most recent one actually has been pretty positively received. Ooh. So I might look into it. But yeah, like I know for sure like 5 and 6 they fell really flat with fans.
Yeah, I never finished 5. I haven't played 6 and I haven't played 7.
Yeah, like they did not get too well received.
I saw the 3D and it was kind of like, I don't really want to play. Because the charm is the 2D for me. So.
Oh yeah, those were some really good sprites. I like those sprites.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, I really liked like 3. I really liked a lot. Like I'm pretty sure I'm in the minority opinion. I feel like a lot of people didn't like that one as like I think people's generally like their ranking is like 2, 4, then 1, then 3.
Yeah.
But I really liked 3 a lot. I thought it was really funny. I thought it was really fun. I really enjoyed it.
Cute.
Yeah, like seriously. And then of course you got which people like. Whenever I see like critiques of Disgaea 3, it's always like, really, they wasted Johnny Young Bosch on this guy? They wasted him. Yeah, they wasted him on this. Like people really did not like 3 that I would like watch, but I thought it was great. But yeah, like Disgaea was such a like really well done series. It's like unmatched charm.
Are strategy RPGs turn-based RPGs?
Not for this topic. I mean, they are technically taking turns, but let's focus on the Dragon Quest-esque ones, or else we'll be diving into too many games.
Episode. The amount of tangents on this episode is great.
Because okay, so you have that, but then Blue was talking about Devil Survivor.
Yeah, I was.
Because that's tactical RPG, but then you get into the battle and it's turn-based.
It's like it kind of just shows the episode where it's like, this is where you enter, and then look at where you end up. That's the gate. That's the gate. You get in with Rhapsody, and then you end up at Disgaea 8. Like that's how it happens.
This is actually my big brain ploy to get us straight into Kirby's Dream Land 3 for another hour.
Yeah, like I thought that's where all they lead to. That's where all roads lead to.
Because it is a true masterpiece that I have to talk about every episode. But before we go too deep into that tangent, did you have another idea, Melly?
For simple to get in JRPGs?
Yes. Also turn-based.
Or at least just like a good entry. Yeah. Turn-based.
Honestly, I mean, one of my favorite series is Shadow Hearts on the PlayStation 2.
Oh.
But like, yeah, I love those games because they also have like, they have the Judgment Ring, and you.
Yeah, I was gonna say that would piss a lot of people off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I always thought that was really fun because like the better you hit your ring, the more damage you do, and if you completely miss, then F your turn.
There's a PS1 RPG that has that feature in it for one segment. It's one that I'm going to mention later. But yeah, like Shadow Heart, I feel like I have a lot of people, like that's one of the JRPGs they got on the PS2. And it's crazy since like it's a sequel to like a game no one talks about.
I played Kodelka. That game is... Yeah. That game is... I
had it at
I don't
launch.
recommend.
And yeah, I didn't either, like, because my mom got it when it launched, and I've always saw it in like our book of games, but I was never good with horror, and so it wasn't until like literally like last month it clicked. Wait, that's Kodelka. Like I'm going through the same book from childhood. I was like, wait a minute, this is this is Kodelka, and she's like, oh yeah, we've had that forever. I was like, yeah, it never clicked to me that you see something so often, but it feels like people are talking about it again. But yeah, Shadow Hearts is a very interesting series.
Yeah, the Shadow Hearts rights are in like limbo because they're owned by like a pachinko company or something like that.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and so we'll never get ports of those games. But the guy who made Shadow Hearts, like the original team, is making a game called Penny Blood, and it's basically Shadow Hearts. Mm-hmm. Except instead of the Judgment Ring, you have like a little tablet or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's hard to explain.
Shadow Hearts did get a sequel also on, I think, the PS2.
Yeah, it had 2 sequels. There is Covenant, and then there is From the New World. Mm-hmm. And From the New World is completely different because they're like, well, you can't make these games as dark. You have to make them lighter so more people will play them. It's
such a fascinating series. Like even from like its development, it's such a strange, like, it's so unique in both how it was, like, the reason why it's called Shadow Hearts was to remove itself from Kodelka. Mm-hmm. So like it's such a like somber kind of like backstory, because the guy who created Kodelka was so saddened that he couldn't do his idea because the company didn't believe in it, so he had to compromise, and that's why he left, and that's why they did Shadow Hearts, to try to like disconnect from Kodelka because it was such a failure as well. So it's just it's such like, it has so much of it that's kind of like poetic in a way. It's such a weird series because like every game is so radically different as well that it really is like every game's like a product of like the industry at the time. So, yeah,
it's still one of my favorites.
Yeah, and I do think I do know of a lot of people who said that their entry into JRPGs and turn-based stuff was Shadow Hearts.
Whoa, those guys are
it's
hardcore.
Honestly more popular. Yeah, it's honestly like more popular than like any other game in the franchise. So
yeah,
big success.
I love horror stuff, and I love JRPGs. So like, it's a perfect mix. Mm-hmm. It also made me get into mythology, and it's why I like S&T games so much, because I'm super into mythology.
Yeah, there's a lot in there.
Oh yeah, they put a whole lot of like demon stuff in it.
Mm-hmm. There's a lot to latch onto.
Yeah. But yeah, I did become a pretty big fan of Shadow Hearts within the past couple years, because I actually got myself a copy of the first game and played through it. And so this series has a whole lot of fun characters in it, even outside of the darker story.
The protagonist is so funny when you get introduced to him. It's like almost like a parody when he shows up. Sup, dude? Who's this homeless looking guy?
Coming over here with his beat up brown trench jacket.
Yeah, he's so... My mom's dressed me this morning.
But Yuri is an awesome main character to follow.
Oh yeah, he's so fun.
I love him.
He is a good mix of serious but also really funny.
It's also makes you think about how one of the issues with that franchise is that because like every game is completely different, like direction and like people behind it, that like a lot of the characters are completely different between games, because it's like different writers. Like Kodelka's personality is just radically different. Like it's nothing even close to how she was in the first game into Shadow Hearts, and then like I think the same with Yuri in like later games. So it's very interesting seeing that. You're like, well, I wonder what kind of character he's gonna have next time.
I know. I feel like the progression of Yuri's character from the first game to the second one still tracks pretty sensibly.
I just love the anti-hero.
Yeah.
Reminds me of Grandia 2 with Ryudo and the anti-hero.
Such a great guy.
Matthew Broderick.
Yeah, it's so funny. Yeah, it's so like I never put it together. I was like, that's Simba.
I never would have, unless I had them like side by side.
I love Grandia 2 because it's just fun. Also, another
still
child.
One of my favorite characters ever.
I've drawn her a couple of times because I love her design. She's probably my favorite next to Tio.
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid, I got like hula hoops and pretended to be her.
Yeah. I think she might be my first experience with like a robot character in a game.
Ooh.
Also, her and Colette from Tales of Symphonia, who also used chakrams.
You're just throwing hoops at people, weren't you?
Yeah! Me and my sister would attack each other with hula hoops. So.
But yeah. Shadow Hearts, interesting choice. That ring is a little bit scary, but honestly, it feels pretty good when you finally understand it. Get the timing right. You can do it with your eyes closed. It makes you feel really cool.
I remember you can edit it as well.
Yeah, they are customizable. Yeah. So you can make it easier for yourself or harder.
There are add-ons and items that make it harder, but you do more damage if you hit them.
Yes. So. That's game balance.
You can even make them. You can make them invisible, so it's like you're closing down.
But you'll be dunking on people if you're doing it doing it with the invisible.
Right. And if you really like the ring, there's a little known indie game called Yik that also uses it for its main character. Yep. A little Y2K.
Oh, that's what you were talking about with Yik. You like mentioned it in like a previous episode, and I was like, "Yes, I know what a Yik is."
Yeah, it's that indie game that,
it's Y2K.
It's like, everyone calls it Yik.
Well, because that's the way they write it. It looks like Yik.
You put Y Roman numeral 2 K.
I didn't know it was called Y2K. I thought it was legitimately called Yik.
I legitimately thought it was called Yik. And then you have Smacchan, the only one on Earth, who's like, wait, Y2K.
It's Y2K.
Everyone just calls it Yik. But yeah, every time you do a normal attack, it requires you to do the ring. Only takes like 3 times as long. But you can mash X multiple times on each part if you're fast enough to have it count multiple times. So that's one of the unique things with Yik.
Is that your next recommendation?
I'm not actually at all. They'll probably never want to play JRPGs turn-based again. I heard they did a massive renovation of the game. I don't know if it affected it at all. So I might like check that out. But yeah, that was that also had the little ring.
But what would be your next recommendation, Blue?
So it also has that ring. It's the Legend of Dragoon.
I thought you were gonna bring up Legend of Dragoon, and I wasn't gonna say anything because I was 90% sure that.
Melody actually had like a list of like 12, but was just like, I know they're gonna mention it. I don't want to steal their thunder.
She had a full list. I was like, let me just pretend that I don't have one.
Yeah, Legend of Dragoon. So like with the one issue with that ring, so the ring comes up anytime you transform into the Dragoon form, and the one issue with it though is that on the final circle of it, you have to do it 5 times. It actually ends it as soon as it reaches the middle, but you have to click X on the middle. But since it cuts off, you have to press it a little bit before for it to register. It's so weird because like people legitimately thought 4 was the max you can do because it does the cutoff as soon as it reaches the 5th beginning. But so it's like It's such a strange thing that they did, but yeah, Legend of Dragoon, it is a pretty good entry level one. Like the more I thought about it, the more it really is. It's turn-based, and it has a lot of the mechanics that it only has like 4 commands at all at any point. Literally flee, defend, item, and regular attack. That's it, and it never changes. And then it has like the Dragoon meter as well, which allows you to cast magic and attack. Those are the only 2 commands you get. You can no longer use items in the Dragoon form, which is like pretty bad, but it does add a bit of like strategy for when you activate them, or you pick characters where their Dragoon magic is like a healing spell. And then it has like a lot of like really underlying mechanics that like it might not seem obvious, but as you improve and you like get more used to the game, they kind of like let themselves be known naturally. Like items, you'll notice the damage changing, and you'll realize that all attack items use the magic stat of who's using them. So it's got a lot of like really creative mechanics. And then with the addition system, it's similar to the action commands that I mentioned with Paper Mario and Mario RPG, where as you attack, you can you time your X button presses to do additional slashes or attacks. And it's very, very good. And there's like many different ones you can pick. Some of them more complex, some of them more complicated, some of them simpler. They all have different multipliers of damage. They all give different amounts of MP. So you can really pick to like, if you're just absolutely awful at them, there's very simple ones that you can do that keep it simple for just a little bit less damage or a little bit less MP. And there's also characters that don't have them at all. So you could just use those as well. So it's very, very simple to get into, and it does have the inventory limit, so you're not going to be overwhelmed with a ton of items. But yeah, it is the only downside, and it's pretty significant, is that the localized version has a pretty notoriously awful English version.
Yeah, that script is pretty crazy.
It's one of the worst translated games on the PlayStation, and it's not terrible in that like it's hard to describe. So a lot of them are done almost literally, kind of thing. So a lot of them talk like robots with not a lot of personality to them. So like, and there's no contractions in like almost any of their word choices. So they'll always say cannot or we will not or things like that. So it can really affect the understanding a lot of stuff because of how they're written. But the gameplay itself, the music, the style, the atmosphere, it's just all such top notch. And there is a lot to latch onto as far as the story. It's actually it's surprisingly one of the best paced as far as like story. Like everything really does like go right into the next thing. Like it's actually quite surprising how consistent its world is. Like even when it becomes like really like sophisticated god level stuff, it all feels like completely plausible and fits with what they've established. It's actually quite impressive. I don't think any other RPG that I've played has that kind of like effect on how it does. Like from like where you start to the end, how naturally that it felt. With like no need for like suspension of like kind of disbelief in like how it's written, or like it's just something comes out of nowhere or you couldn't have known. Like it's all there, and it's like quite impressive. The voice acting is pretty terrible, but the
dance.
Yeah, but the attacks are charming. Like the cutscenes, horrible voice acting. But the cutscenes are so charming because they're just blurbs and they add so much to it. Volcano!
Yes! Hero!
Yeah! Rose Whip! Like they're really cool.
Double smack!
Yeah! Double smack!
When you get to do the high-level editions and you do them correctly, it makes brain feel good.
Oh yeah, some of them get so like it's like 12 inputs, and the thing is like by the end of it, they will throw in random counters, and you have to swap buttons that you're pressing to not be countered. So like you're sitting there doing like fast paced like X circle X. Just like it catches you off guard. But it's like that's by the end of it. So it's a really natural difficulty curve. So, but yeah, and it's of course it's got that like classic where once you're used to the battle system, you know what you can really exploit. Like you learn just how powerful magic is through the items. Like the items are actually like the most powerful way of dealing damage. So, but it's a lot of fun, and like the music is like groove and like so. And I guess like a really fun fact that might get people interested. It's the only JRPG Sony has ever made. So it's completely unique style, unlike anything you have ever seen in an RPG. So it's very, very, very fun.
People really want them to remake that game.
I'm
one of those people.
Just for a better translation.
Yeah, please fix the script.
When they re-released it on PSN, I was like, oh my god, did they fix the localization? No.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of worried if they don't, because like even with like Mario RPG and Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, they just used the original script but edited any problematic things that they didn't like anymore for modern audiences. But everything else they literally just kept the same. But I really do hope that they do. There's no possible way, there's no way, right, that they would ever consider like it's the only RPG they've ever made, and they're like, yeah, this isn't gonna work.
No, they were ready for it to be a Final Fantasy killer. They had to have believed in it a little bit.
They put a lot of like budget in, and I honestly think it's one of the most impressive looking games on the PlayStation 1.
Yeah,
like, it is stunning. Like you could mistake it for a PS2 game for some of its stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it really is that impressive. Like, and they put a lot of money into it too.
The music,
is
such a jam.
Yeah, like,
and it has
really
menu screen music.
Everyone loves that menu screen music.
Yes.
Nobody does menu screen music.
Yeah.
You just open the menu just to listen to the music.
Yeah, it comes out of nowhere. It's the only game I can think of that does that.
The only other game that I can think of that does that is Final Fantasy 1.
You're right, it did do that. Welcome back, Final Fantasy. It really was the Final Fantasy killer. They were like, we can't do this again. Like, how do we top that?
So, menu screen music. Vengeance has menu screen music, but it is incredibly boring. Like, it puts me to sleep.
Yeah.
But like Legend of Dragoon menu music, you're just like, ah, yeah, this is my jam.
I think like every like Legend of Dragon like review from a YouTuber who finds out about it for the first time, they always stop their review and put some sort of meme about jamming out to the menu music. Like they'll just throw in like Thanos dancing. It's so good. Yeah, it's really fun. But yeah, the one thing that will probably get to some people who are like just getting into it is the inventory limit. It's so small. Like it's like actually it's absurdly small because because items is 1/3 of all of your commands in the game. that having such a limited pool, but it's like it does make sense because you can really abuse the items in the game. It is honestly like the strongest attacks you have, but I feel like they could have made separate inventories if they needed to, like attack items versus like everything else. But yeah, it does add a lot of like risk reward, but there's going to be so many times you open up a chest in the game and you're like, well, you can't use it. It's like I guess I'm just gonna die, I guess.
Guess I'll die.
Yeah. So, but yeah, I do think like the more I thought about it, Legend of Dragoon is a really, really good game to like start off like RPGs while having something completely unique that's like unlike anything else. Like I can't think of anything to compare to Legend of Dragoon. Like even to this day, like I really can't think of anything. So
I mean, the closest would be Shadow Hearts, and that is purely because of the action based.
Yeah, the
like Paper Mario. Yeah.
Yeah, you could. Yeah. And it's like its style, its soundtrack, it's like because it's like I said, like this was Sony's only attempt at an RPG, so it's like completely outsider trying to make a unique RPG. So it's like it breaks a lot of the tropes. It doesn't follow a lot of like the standards at the time. Like I said, the soundtrack is unlike anything. Like I can't think of anything to compare it to. Like there might be something out there, but it's just the fact that it's from like the PlayStation 1 era that it's crazy.
You need to pause this and go listen to the Legend of Dragoon soundtrack right now.
Yeah, I still hum like the castle themes occasionally. It's so like it's so pleasant.
I used to play those songs on Osu all the time.
I didn't even know. Yes, there you go. It's great. I did not expect to hear that.
I'm ready for those kind of cuts today.
Yeah. So yeah, like Legend of Dragoon is definitely one that I like. The more I thought about it, the more I'm like, yeah, it's actually really good. Especially when like I was playing it as a kid as well. So like that alone just says like, yeah, this is something that even like beginners can be accessible to. And like even if you struggle with like some of the more complex additions is what they're called, that you could just choose to use the lesser ones or use some two of the characters that don't have them. So. Yeah, I think and the Dragoon system is really cool. It's very flashy.
I love the designs.
Oh God, they're beautiful. Like they're actually like, oh my God, I could go on for another hour.
God, now I want to draw Legend of Dragoon fan art.
That's like, there's like so little of it.
Oh my! I've done it in the past, and then I'm just like looking at my iPad. It's charging.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll draw one.
With the little battery that you have.
Yeah.
I need to make
Blue, who's your favorite character?
I mean, I gotta say Rose, right? Like, all
right, cute girl.
Yeah, like Rose was my parents' favorite as well. Both of them. Rose was so because like I think they really started playing Legend of Dragoon hardcore around the time that like Buffy the Vampire Slayer was also around. And like Rose is just such a cool character, and her design is beautiful. She's the first Dragoon you see as well. She always seems like she knows everything before it happens.
I love her asymmetrical shoes.
Yeah, yes, it's so funny.
It started the asymmetrical trend that VTubers have now.
Yeah, it's so cool. You're just like, that looks ridiculous. I love it. And then Dart has the same thing, I think, too, with his like armor.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's why like long like gotta mention Legend of Dragoon. When else will I ever get to bring it up?
I mean, that's fair enough, because for our final entry today, I'm going to indulge once again in, in the same title that I talk about every week, because I just had to come up with another way to talk about it. Of course, it's Kirby's Dream Land 3. But also, it's Blue Reflection. I've got to talk about Blue Reflection. So yeah, I always try to find a way to talk about Blue Reflection because it's such a masterpiece. So it seems like
a lot of my friends love that game.
I should be friends with a lot of your friends then. Melly, stop holding out. I need to hang out with the Blue Reflection community. But it seems like one of the greater things that we need to consider in the entry point for turn-based JRPGs is how to give the player a sense of real-time elements to the battles, because it is a little bit jarring for a lot of people coming in for, to have the turn-based model.
It does seem a lot of the ones mentioned here do have that at some, like, even a smidgen like Paper Mario RPG, Dragoon, all those.
Yep. But, time button inputs is definitely a way to approach that. But another way that is a little bit time honored as well is the ATB.
Yeah.
And Blue Reflection does have its ATB system, and it's one of my favorite ATB systems. Where you get to try to stall the opponent as much as you can by hitting them with their weaknesses, It's really fun to just try to just keep on slamming them and not allow them to fight your magical girls back.
Me when I play Grandia too.
I was gonna say, yeah, it's very similar.
I guess it is pretty similar because yeah, Grandia does have a pretty similar ATB. Yeah, the cancels. But yeah, another thing that Blue Reflection does have that not a whole lot of JRPGs do, that's good for somebody just coming into the genre, is that it has a very compact party, in that the first Blue Reflection only has 3 main characters to maintain. For people just coming in, it might be overwhelming to have to juggle 8 of those suckers and care about all of their stats. But with Blue Reflection, the first one, you only get 3 characters to care about, and that's all the stats you have to worry about. Also, of course, and I think I've talked enough about the characters and stories and how much I love them in previous episodes, so I'm not going to talk about how gosh dang wonderful the story of Blue Reflection is, and how well just the series handles the expansion of ideas just originally set in this first game. I don't need to talk about how fantastic that is again.
But I will. So anyway,
well, anyway, let me tell you about how Hinako is best waifu ever. No, I'm not going to do that. It is also a pretty short, sweet experience. You can beat it about between 20 and 30 hours, which is pretty short as terms of modern JRPGs go, I think. I think most modern games tend to go upwards or closer to 40, I'd say.
Yeah. I mean, most JRPGs, I'd argue, are usually about 60 hours. Though I'm the kind of person who has to do everything and stuff. A lot of friends I know don't do every side quest and blah blah blah. So.
And I am one such person who is a lazy bum and just wants to check out the story for the most part, except in Blue Reflection, because I do want to see everything, because all the conversations are precious. But
I love the art style.
Oh my gosh, the art style is so gorgeous. Just like the presentation of this game, both the 2D art and also particularly in the first one, I think the articism in the lighting in the game looks fantastic. I feel like they put a little bit less emphasis on it in the second game, although I feel like it's still a very nice looking game. But there's such composition in how they use the lighting in the first game, I think. Just walking down the hallway of the school in the first game just feels like a really nice visual treat. But there is its own dose of fan service, but you know, for this game, there's a lot to be a fan of. So many cute girls.
Yeah.
And I feel like they're written so well. You could genuinely be a fan of them and be served.
I'm putting this on my my wish list of games to play, because now you said it's good, so I have to play it. That's just how this works. I don't know.
It was on sale like 2 weeks ago too. That's when I got it.
There you go. I'm spreading the fandom.
Yeah.
I do it with every episode, but it is also a very modern JRPG experience. It does follow a lot of the framework of kind of like a Persona game, where you have kind of a central school setting that has another world element to it, where you fight demons and such. And the other worlds are so gorgeous. I love them. They're like surreal, but not nightmarish. They're a treat to see. I always love seeing them. I like just looking out into the distance whenever I'm in any of the otherworld stuff. But yeah,
it's a Gust game, isn't it?
Yes, Gust. It is made by Gust, from the same folks that work on the Atelier games. I also picked up another Gust game called Knights of Azure recently that I need to play more of.
What? I didn't know they made that.
Yeah, they made that.
That's crazy. That's wow. Okay. They're really good at that genre.
They are very good at what they do, and what they do is bring us the cute girls that I love.
That's
I played so many Gust JRPGs on the PlayStation 2, so
yeah, they were definitely. That was definitely an era of Gust. Although we might say that with all the Atelier games coming out in like the past
I love
generation.
Sophie. I love Atelier Sophie.
I need to get around to playing Sophie. I have 1 and 2. I managed to get 2 pretty cheap at GameStop one day.
I pre-ordered the first Atelier Sophie game.
That's a pretty good move.
And then I tried to platinum it on the PlayStation, but like the extra boss is so hard that I have the best stats and I still can't beat the boss.
Goodness.
So I'm salty for that. But I did add Blue Reflection to my wish list on Steam.
Oh yeah.
Next time it's on sale, I'm gonna buy it. And then I'm gonna message you and be like, yo, this is lit fire. No cap, for real.
This got that Riz.
Yeah.
And those are going to be exact quotes. I expect the message to say those things exactly.
So that actually reminded me. You know what? I'm actually kind of shocked none of us brought up for beginner RPGs to get into turn-based.
What?
The Pokemon series.
What is a Pokemon?
I'm saying, wait a minute.
It's like... I'll play Shadow Hearts before I play a Pokemon.
Yes.
I feel like Pokemon games are just kind of like implied.
Yeah.
We just assumed you already played Pokemon. If you don't already like turn-based RPGs after the Pokemon you already played, it's not an entry.
Exactly. Like, wait a minute. Speaking of Riz. Okay.
The Poke Riz. And on that note, I think we have to go ahead and call this one an episode. But oh my gosh, it's been so great having Melly with us. Melly, if we need more Melly in our lives, where can we find you?
I'm on Twitter at Sweets Parade. That's about it. I have other sites. I have a Tumblr, but I never update it. But you can usually find me on Twitter, and I have a hard link that I can send. You can put in the description or something.
That works for me. And Blue, if we need more Blue Infinity 22, where can people find you?
I'm usually at Melly's Twitch channel.
in the chat.
Yeah. Blue Infinity 22 on Twitch and YouTube. I'm going to be starting Kingdom Hearts 2 speedrun soon.
Ooh, hype.
And I'll maybe try to stream some casual Puzzle League.
Casual Puzzle League at extreme triple hard difficulty.
Yeah.
But definitely look forward to that. But yeah, if you guys want to follow me, go ahead and Action Smack that subscribe button for the Pixel Smacchan channel. But you can also check out the main Action Smacchan channel, youtube.com/@Action Smacchan, if you want to listen to me talk about tokusatsu, maybe anime, or whatever the heck else I'm actually doing over there when I actually upload something. I'm also on Twitter and Instagram, both at Action Smacchan. But anyway, thank you all so much for being here, and I will see you in the next Smacchan Pact adventure.